Greetings, beginner class. This is the video for Yellow Submarine, the song we did for our last class. Now, before we start, one thing I want to remind you of is that this song is recorded, when they recorded it, they tuned their guitars down 3/4 of a step. So, you either need to, if you want to play along with the recording, tune your guitar down 3/4 of a step, which is kind of hard to do, or get some software to bring the pitch of the MP3 up to standard tuning. So there are two options. One is Transcribe by 7th String Software, which works great for Macs and PCs. The other option is Anytune, which if you're working with an iPad or an iPhone, that app is a good option. I think Anytune is also available for the Mac, but don't quote me on that. So anyways, yeah, so basically you have to bring the MP3 up a half step, and then what I found was up another 32%, which is basically around a quarter of a step to get it up to be in concert pitch. All right, so, but if you're just playing it by yourself, you don't need to worry about that. So the first chord in the song is D. Ringo Starr sings in the, and then when he says town, he strums D. Now, then after that, C, G, E minor, A minor, C, D, and then G, back to the beginning, C, G, E minor, A minor, C, D. Okay, so let's go through those chords real quick. Now, in the tab that I gave to you guys, I've got the G chord starting before the beginning of the verse. So it's G, D, and then C, G, and then E minor, A minor, and then C, D, and then G, and then the repeat bar line sends you back to the beginning of the verse, D, C, G, E minor, A minor, C, D. Now this song is great for practicing all of your open chords because you've got some time in some of those strums to get from one chord to the next. So for example, initially, G, D, that's kind of a fast transition, but after you do that D chord, 2, 3, you've got 2 beats before you have to get to C. So if you practice that, D, C, if you practice it like that, that gives you some time to make that transition. And C is one of the harder open chords to play. So what I would recommend actually is practicing the song like this. Practice going from D to C to get that transition down. And then in the second measure, you're going to play G and then E minor. So again, you strum the G chord and then you have 2 more beats before you have to get to E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to practice that transition. And then in the next measure, you're playing A minor and then C. So again, 1, 2, 3. And then in the last measure, D to G. 1, 2, 3, 4. So then there's the faster transitions. So the very beginning of the tab that I gave you guys. So G to D. So you're on G for just 1 beat, and then you have to get right over to D. So you want to practice that by itself. And then in the first measure of the verse, at the end you play C and have to get right over to G. So you want to practice that by itself as well. second measure, you have to get from E minor right over to A minor. So practicing that by itself would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Again. And then the third measure of the verse, playing C, moving right over to D. So playing that by itself would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. And then the fourth measure of the verse, playing G, and then getting right back to D. So again, that would sound like this. 1, 2, 3. Again. Okay, so then after you've practiced the easy transitions and the hard transitions, then it's time to put the song together. So to begin with, play G to D. C, G, E minor to A minor, and then C to D, G to D, C to G, E minor, A minor, C to D. So like I said, one of the great things about learning this song is that you're going through so many of the open chords, and you have, in some cases, some extra time to get from one chord to the next, but in other cases, like, you're being challenged a little bit to quickly get from one chord to the next. Now, the second line of the tab, when the strumming starts to pick up a little bit, you're strumming more times on the first chord of each measure. So looking at the second line, you're playing the D chord and you're strumming down, up, down, C, G, down, up, down, E minor, down, up, down, C, down, up, down, G. So I'm going to go through that again. This time I'm going to say the names of the chords. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, C, G, E minor, A minor, C, D, G, D, C, G, E minor, A minor, C, D, G, D. Okay, so I'm going to go through that one last time. This time I'm going to say the strumming pattern. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, up, down, 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 and it starts over. The last part of the song, the chorus, which is on the second measure of line 3, you're playing G, and you're going to strum down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, down. And then that whole thing repeats. One last thing, the tab that I wrote out, the second line, where you're playing the shuffle feel, I didn't mention that, but I'll get to that in a second. You're going to play through the second line, and then the repeat bar line sends you back to the beginning of the second line. You'll play through everything but the fourth measure, and then skip down to the third line, the second ending. And the only thing that changes there is that you're just playing the D chord for a full measure, so just... and then you go into the chorus. Now, the tab says shuffle feel over the second line. What that means is that the eighth notes are not half of a beat each. They're 2/3 of a beat and 1/3 of a beat. So, for example, here is standard eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and shuffle, if I were to count this out, I would say 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet. But nobody does it like that. Everyone just knows what it sounds like. The downstroke is long, the upstroke is short. There are some tricks to getting this down if you have problems doing this, and don't be frustrated if you have problems doing the shuffle field, because a lot of students that I've taught over the years do have problems trying to get this kind of rhythm down. There is a specific process to go through to get to be able to do a shuffle rhythm if you can't do it immediately after hearing it. And I don't think I have a video yet of that, but I will post one as soon as I can. So that is how you play Yellow Submarine by the Beatles. Again, one thing I just want to state again is that this song is recorded strangely. It's down 3/4 of a step. So the chords that I have written out, if you play that along with the original recording, it's going to sound like it's not in tune, like they're the wrong chords. What they did was they retuned the guitars, I don't know why, and played these open chords. So, any questions? Feel free to comment or email me.